get you a list. I think there's 23 or 24 different ways. So.
And does that, as far as you know, change from what you just said?
That's existing.
I'm sorry, so the governor has vetoed the registration portion of the budget, correct?
I would probably refer you back to Rob Nichols on the veto
He wouldn't answer the question. I mean, it's your department. It falls under your department. So has he vetoed the registration language?
Well, I think, again, you have to talk to Rob on the specifics. But for us, what dealt with us was the 30 days. And it is my understanding that the 30 days is going to be a part of the final bill. So in other words, the rest of the states, the United States, most of the states have some kind of a clock that once you establish residency, and as I was mentioning to Ann, Ohio law and Ohio Administrative Code already established what residency means, how you define residency, and so that doesn't change. And so really the only thing in this bill that changes is the fact that you have 30 days once you establish residency to change over your plates and driver's license, which is what most other states have.
So it's your understanding that that is all still in the bill?
Yes.
You haven't been told otherwise?
I haven't seen the veto message.
How do you enforce something like that? How do you enforce...
As mentioned to Ann, so any driver's license law is enforced at the local level, either during a traffic stop or during most cases after a crash.
Do you plan any kind of public awareness campaign of that for residents who are moving into the state that they might know about this?
So we have 90 days from the time this goes into effect, the law goes into effect. Can you hold on a second? I'm going to get you a definitive answer.
About the veto?
Yeah.
So you don't know? Or you do know, or you're not telling us because we don't have it from the governor's office yet?
I don't know what the veto message was, so I can't speak to the veto message.
But it was vetoed.
The language was vetoed, correct? Which is the opposite of what you just told us.
No. So
am I misunderstanding?
Yeah, there's a couple provisions within the statute. One dealt with 30 days, right? And that's within the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. The other dealt with what residency means. An existing statute already has what residency is defined as. Around 24 ways residency is defined, and that's in code.
It's already in code.
It's in code.
Is voter registration one of those?
I couldn't tell you exactly all of them. There's about 23, 24 of them. So what defines residency? And so Virginia, for example, has a 30-day clock. Some states have a 10-day clock. Some states have, say, 60-day clock. 30 is probably about average for when you should be changing your license plates over. So in that regard, it certainly makes it clear expectations for people when they move into the state, once they establish residency, or when they should be registering their car in Ohio and getting driver's license transferred to Ohio.
They would have 30 days.
30 days.
And that's something that is law now.
Well, July 1, it'll be law.
Okay.
90 days.
So it's in the bills.
So that is...
The 30 days is in the bill, but it sounds like...
Check it on the veto message here.
Well, why can't we just... The bill is law. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We can't know what...
Yeah, her question was, what happened, how does that affect the Bureau? And my point was, it really doesn't change what we do at all, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles or the Department of Public Safety.
Okay.
So the short answer to your question, I just wanted to confirm. So the 30-day clock is in the bill. Some of the other provisions were struck as part of that.
So some of it was struck.
Yeah.
But you're saying those things are already in state law, the residency required, some of the residency things.
What it takes to define residency is already in code.
And so that may include voter registration, but we have to look at the code to see. Is that?
Yeah, we can get you what the administrative code is.
Voter registration is one of the...
But it sounds like that 30-day timeline is now in place, is in code, the 30-day timeline?
Well, July 1, it'll be in code.
Okay.
Is it your interpretation, or since you run the people who be enforcing this, is it your understanding or interpretation of that if I'm an out-of-state student and I register to vote here, I need to change my license?
Under current, you want me to talk about current law? So under current law, you have, when you establish residency, essentially the statute says you need to go transfer your driver's license and license plates. The change here is basically after you establish residency, you have 30 days.
Sure.
So in some cases, it depends, I suppose, your perspective. You, under current law, have to do it right then, as soon as you establish residency, whereas this change will give you 30 days to do that. But residency is defined in existing code what established residency.
But if you registered to vote 2 years ago, you're an out-of-state college student. Now you'll have 30 days to go and register.
Well, I guess the question is, do you define an you're paying out-of-state tuition because you're not a resident of Ohio. You've come to Ohio and you registered to vote in Ohio.
That's a question really you probably need to ask the Secretary of State. For us, it's pretty clear, and someone else asked about enforcement earlier. Enforcement for driver's license law is actually done at the local level, either during a traffic stop or out of a crash. And so whether someone will receive a citation, which is all that exists under current code and under this change, is really no different. The only thing that's different is we would be consistent with most of the states in the United States that say that after you establish residency, and you establish residency, residency is not established for you, but you would establish residency, you have 30 days to transfer your license plates and driver's license to Ohio.
If it's at the local level, what kind of guidance are you going to give? Is it up to my judgment if I'm a local police officer? Oh, you're an out-of-state student. I think you are an Ohioan, so now you don't have a license. I'm gonna.
Well, if someone's going to cite you for something, there has to be some evidence you violated a law. So that.
Sure. So is that a law as of July 1, in your opinion?
Well, the law, that part of the law hasn't changed. That's what I'm saying. With that part of the law hasn't changed.
Is it your understanding, though, that an out-of-state student who is here in the state is now a resident for license purposes?
Yeah, what I'm telling you is that when you establish residency, and Ohio code defines what residency means, it doesn't say, Ohio code doesn't say you become a resident when you do A, B, or C.
Sure.
But it says you are a resident if you need to prove residency in Ohio. But from the Bureau of Motor Vehicle and Public Safety side, the 30-day clock says after you declare residency, not we declare residency for you, but when you declare residency, you have to transfer your license plates and driver's license to Ohio.
Who can we talk to who can give us a definite answer as to whether that person who's an out-of-state student
Well, if you're talking about voting, it would have to be the Secretary of State.
Seems like that'd be very difficult to enforce if you're the officer who's made a traffic stop.
Well,
yeah. Do you have the resources to find out?
The law, that part of the law hasn't changed.
Right, but
nor is it inconsistent across the country.
If one of your troopers is walking up to a vehicle, he's not going to have the information at hand. It seems like to know that the Indiana license he has is really somebody who should be an Ohio resident.
I understand what you're saying, and what I'm saying is that that part of the law hasn't changed at all. That doesn't change.
No, we understand that. I hope you understand. I mean, I'm not trying to grill you. I just there is no yes or no answer anywhere as to whether. And it's a pretty important issue.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty consistent across all the states. When you establish residency, you have to transfer your license plates and driver's license over.
So it's not consistent. I mean, I was an out-of-state student in Michigan, and Michigan has constitutional autonomy, and the universities get to decide on their own who is a resident or not a resident for tuition purposes.
Yeah.
That's totally separate from being a resident of the state.
Yeah.
So how Ohio code is interpreted is very important.
No, I agree with you. But when you move into Ohio and you have established residency, and that hasn't changed.
So is that person a resident? That's what I'm asking.
There's still this category of out-of-state college students that we're not really understanding.
That really isn't a Bureau of Motor Vehicles or a driver's license plate issue.
Well, it becomes one when they register to vote,
Right.
apparently.
Once they register to vote, they're established.
Then it's in your court.
So then the 30 days starts to kick in.
No, you don't think they've established residency once they register?
No. See, the difference is that under current code and under what was signed today, is that when Jim, you move into Ohio and you say, I am now an Ohio resident, and I want to prove my Ohio residency, and here's one of 24 ways that you can prove that. Once you say I'm an Ohio resident, you have 30 days, beginning with this law on July 1, to transfer your license plates and driver's license over.
But one of the ways I can do that is by